Hi marketing leaders, what's up? Today I would like to talk to you about copywriting and things you actually need to know about it. It's a different kind of topic that we usually cover. We usually focus on building website and being efficient about it and planning the web development. But today, copywriting is something I really want to talk about because in a couple of conversations that I had with clients, it was obvious that this is a sticky point. This is something that you marketers struggle with, and I want to make it easier for you. As a person of interest in website and making sure that your websites convert as much as possible, copy is undoubtedly one of the most important parts of a website that helps with that. It's the story that you tell on your website that sells what you are offering. Okay, you can have the most beautiful website on the world, but if it doesn't make sense to the user, if they can't really understand what it is all about, then it's for naught, unfortunately. So today I want to focus on a few tips, few things that I've learned that work and that you should do yourself if you want to maximize your chances of converting as much traffic as possible. First point is test your copy. But how do I do it? Well, there are many ways, but bottom line is test your copy before you actually do any major changes. Don't get stuck in a loop of tweaking that heading on the homepage time and time again until it's perfect, because it never is and it never won't be. That's it. Just test your copy before you make any major changes. You can do A/B tests. I think that's the most obvious option for you, but you can also do surveys, you can do polls, you can redirect traffic to one variation of a page to another. That's a split test, but there are ways. That's what I'm saying. Test your copy because you just might worsen your situation if you don't do it. And that applies to pretty much any changes on your website, but I don't think copy should be excluded from that trend, from that practice. First point, test your copy. Really, you might be okay with what you have right now and you won't know until you test it. Okay, next one is short sentences. The reason why it's on the list is because if you think about how people search on Google, they probably put short phrases in a very lazy way with no consideration for grammar whatsoever, and they hope to get what they want. The truth is, that's how we search on the internet, whether it's in Google or on your website. We're probably in rush. We probably have half of an idea what we want, and we hope someone else will fill the void for us. I just think that website should aim to be this much accessible and this much legible to the user. Just to keep it sweet, short, to the point, concise is probably the word I'm looking for. Therefore, if you write long sentences, you drain that attention span to bare minimum, to bare zero probably, and you lose the user somewhere in the middle before you actually get your point across. That's not what we want. Keep those sentences short, nice, sweet, to the point. Even if it feels like it's a bit robotic, that's how you exchange information on the internet. That's how you tell people with short attention span. That's how you tell people who are constantly bombarded with pieces of information all over throughout the day what you want to tell. I've watched many times how many people just glance over the website. If you're watching our videos, I mentioned Hotjar and video recording, like the screen recordings. I watch them almost daily, and I can tell the way that people digest content. And this is to no one's surprise. I mean, there are many research papers on that they just simply glance at headings. Maybe something catches their attention because it's colored or bolded, whatever that is. They really don't read back to back, and that's the fact. So the shorter sentences are, the higher chances that they will actually listen to you. But also, next point kind of builds on the back of that one about short sentences. I think you should really use plain language, not for experts, certainly. No matter what your niche is, no matter what that kind of curse of knowledge, keep it plain language, keep it plain English. And in fact, there's a rule that you should write copy in a way that anyone between the age of 13 and 15 should understand it without having any kind of prior knowledge. about your brand, about your product, about your market, nothing. So in other words, if you grab a stranger off the street and you put them in front of the screen and tell them to read your website, they will get it. Simple as that. Short sentences definitely contribute to the likeliness of them getting it, but also using plain language, no jargon whatsoever. I know this is easy to say a word that's considered a jargon and be done with it, but sometimes it's better to use one word more, two words more, or a different word that's just commonly known by people to explain yourself, because it just avoids the chance of you being misunderstood or taken the wrong way. Short sentences, plain language, and you'll be good. And finally, this is something from digital psychology, really, but I thought it'd be helpful to tell you about it. You might have even come across those things. And what I mean is reading patterns. If you recognize reading patterns on your website and there are either F pattern or Z pattern, depends if you're British or American, people read and consume the content on your website in a very specific way. And when we mean the F pattern or Z pattern, we mean the way they guide their eyes or mouse pointer on the page, right? So F pattern would be, so they start at the top, go all the way through, but then lower on the page, they only reach the half of the page, and the lower they go, the less interest they get, and eventually they drop off if they don't take any action or you didn't catch their eye with anything interesting. Same with Z pattern, it just goes kind of, again, that's why the navigation's at the top, by the way, because they consume it holistically, right? They get across and then kind of glance and they find another row or section to read again, but then again they jump down. It depends on the target audience, really. It depends on demographics of the people that you're trying to sell to or target with your offering. They will have different patterns. There'll probably be a mix of both, but there should be like a primary pattern that you should be concerned with, and based on that pattern you should write the copy. That's what I'm getting at. If someone is in F pattern, beside the above the fold, the main banner on the homepage, anything below should be short, sweet, probably don't extend further than half of the page. You can fill the gap with images, obviously, that's just for decoration and assistance, but the text itself should be short. That's why, for example, when we build a website, we limit the width of paragraphs to about 900 to 1000 pixels. The screens are often even 19 to 20 pixels, which is like full HD screen. We set paragraphs to not be longer than half of those screens, or wider than half of those screens, because that's the way people read. By the time they would get to the end of that screen, they would just lose interest, or they would even forget what they're reading. So there are many things that go into copywriting. You have to forget everything that they taught you in school. It's not about grammar, it's not about capitalization, it's not about sounding clever and wise. It's about getting the point across as soon as possible. Short sentences, plain language, use the patterns to your benefit. After all, test your changes before you commit to them. That's all that's to it. And if there's anything else that comes to your mind that I didn't mention, do let me know. That will help me keep the video up to date. I might record another one as a follow-up if you'd like. We'll see what you tell me that you think. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching. I hope that was helpful in any way, and let's just stay in touch. Talk soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.